Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging we are in Treaty 1 territory in the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid close contact within 2 meters with anyone showing symptoms of a respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, we're requesting that you excuse yourself from the room. Please note that when you join the meeting via Zoom, all participants will be placed in the waiting room and your microphone will be muted until the host lets you in the room. You can follow the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. When your property is called upon, you will be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you have been heard, you can leave the meeting and continue to watch the hearing live via the city's YouTube channel. If any participants are currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio now. My name is Neil Harden. I am chairing today's panel. With me is Brent McIntyre and Lynn Nisbet. The assessor today is Arka Edirkanov, and the recording secretary is Belen Rojo. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it in the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application be brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. Use of cell phones is not permitted except with approval of the chair. Okay. Belen, you were saying that the applicant for 333 St. Mary Avenue is not yet in attendance?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, we will put that to the end of the docket then, and move on to 35 King Street. Let me just pull that up. I somehow lost my Gmail. There we go. Okay, so it's item 3 on the agenda. I have it. Okay, so you can begin, Arka.
Mr. Assessor, please your full name.
Oh, sorry, you got to do the swearing in, Bill. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
please state your full name.
Arka Aydarkhanov.
You affirm the evidence you're about to present the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I affirm.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Bradford Scott Borgstrom.
You affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Arca, you can proceed on 35 King Street then.
File number 20847. Business assessment ID 23519. Business name Imperial Lot 181. Owners Imperial Parking Limited. Subject property is a parking lot. We are presenting 41 stall counts at $90 per stall per month, which arrives at annual rental value of $44,280. I guess at this point, following pages provide pictures of the parking lot, comparables of the parking lots. Both applicant and the assessment and the taxation department agree. I reviewed the applicant's documentation, agree on the monthly net rent of $90. So the only point of contention here is a stall count, where applicant presents it as 37 stalls and the assessment and taxation department goes for 41 stalls. So with that, it doesn't look like it's a point where assessment value is seeking decrease, but it's a section 13.1.1 of the Municipal Assessment Act, errors and omissions. So if that is in fact the case, then it is an error or omission that has to be addressed and verified, and the proper stall count has to be reviewed. So I would ask the board at this point to confirm the assessed value is the way it is, and the applicant to contact assessment and taxation department for further verification and correcting this error. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Bergstrom, how do you feel about that?
That's a no. We filed this appeal. It's really no different than if there was an error in the calculation of the rentable area. For example, I can give you the example of the Winnipeg Free Press building, the office component, where we argued for the exclusion of the internal atrium. That was not a Section 13 request. I don't hear any agreement from the city regarding the stall count, and so I would ask that the board hear the evidence in this matter and render its decision accordingly.
Okay. Brent, do you have any questions of the assessor on this?
Ark, I see the Realty decision was heard by the board. Was the issue of parking stalls brought up then?
For the Realty, and even when applicant briefly communicated with me about it, for the Realty, there is 41 stalls, so I don't think that is a issue there. This was brought forth in the previous 2018 assessment, and I believe the same issues were there for BA, and that was confirmed at that time. For the Realty in 2020, again, for the Realty side, no, I don't think anybody has any contention regarding the stall count. Just for BA, applicant states that 4 stalls are not available to the Imperial parking lot, and that's something I guess that would typically fall under Section 13.1.1 of the Municipal Assessment Act, errors and omissions, and it has to be inspected, verified, and if necessary, corrected.
So was a mailer sent out to the owner to confirm the number of parking?
Actually, the mailer that was sent out actually states 44 stalls.
So the owner had stated 44.
Correct, but I believe the correct count is 41, of which what is exactly the amount of stalls available to the interior parking is something that needs to be verified.
Okay, those are my only questions. Thank you.
Okay, Lynn, any questions?
No, other than just to ask, when was the last time the assessment department did go out and count the stalls?
I don't have that information.
Okay, thank you. No, I have no questions.
Okay, I guess we need to deliberate then upon whether we follow the 13, the errors and omissions as suggested by the assessor, or proceed with hearing evidence on a number of stalls. So can we have a few minutes to confer?
Well, prior to the board deliberating, and while I disagree with that, I would like the opportunity to address some of the points that the assessor has made and address some of the questions that have been asked by the board.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay, so actually it would fall in the form of a question, I guess, to the assessor, or perhaps he can agree or not. You referred to the income and expense questionnaire, and that was sent to the owner of the property, correct?
Well, I'll have to look at it again.
So why don't you look at it and then we can have an answer to the question.
Well, income and expense that was sent to the owner of the property and received by the owner of the property, yes, that.
Right, and who is that?
To 65 Notre Dame Limited.
Right, and the realty assessment encompasses both the parking lot and an office building, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and this parking lot, or sorry, this business assessment is for the parking lot only, correct?
Correct.
And the business assessment is in the name of Imperial Parking, yes?
Correct.
Which is different than the owner of the real estate, right?
It is different.
And in fact, Imperial Parking manages and operates a number of parking stalls throughout the city, correct?
Yeah, that's obvious.
And you have not had the opportunity to go inspect the property yourself?
Not inspect the subject property, no.
Okay. Well, I have, and I have a number of pictures that I would like to bring forward into evidence before the board. But with that, let me just say that the realty assessment and the business assessment are two separate matters. The question becomes, what should properly be assessed in the name of Imperial Parking, the name on the business assessment roll, the business name. And so that is what we will be arguing for today. So with that, I'm happy to have the board take its recess and make its decision on proceeding.
Okay, we will then confer for 5 minutes till 9:45. by my watch, so we'll reconvene then.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Is Brad there too?
I am.
Okay. The board has, I'll reconvene the hearing. The board has deliberated and will proceed with hearing the evidence on this case. Arca, is there anything more you'd like to add on the evidence?
I don't know. There isn't.
Okay. Brad, any questions of the assessor on the evidence?
I have just a couple. In determining the 41 stalls, and I agree with you that we are not disputing that there are a total of 41 stalls attributed to the realty role. Do you know how many would be required under zoning requirements for a loading zone?
For the zone, I'm not. I don't think I can answer your question right now. No.
Okay, so you don't know?
No.
Okay. Other than the questions that I asked of the assessor previously, those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Brent, any more questions of the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Lynn?
No question.
Okay, then you can proceed, Brad.
Thank you. And so let me start by telling the board that I personally inspected this property on Friday prior to preparing our brief on it. We can illustrate much as the assessor has done on page 3 of our brief. That's an overhead shot of the property from the realty roll. It includes what used to be occupied by Robertson College at 35 King Street and the adjacent parking lot, and you can see it outlined in blue. And there are 3 rows of 8 stalls, and 3 rows of 11 stalls, and then there is 1 row against the building, angular, for with a total of 8 stalls there. However, a number of the stalls are not in the care and control, nor do they generate income for Imperial parking. The assessor may wish to add separate parking business assessment, but for 4 stalls, it's going to be so far below the threshold, it's not going to do anything for it. So I do want to take you next to our pictures from the inspection of the site. That starts on pages 14 and following. Now, you might want to rotate these pages as you look at them. It makes it easier. And are we all there?
No.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, yeah, it does need to be rotated a bit. Okay.
So in Adobe, if you go up to organize the pages, you can rotate a number of pages within there at the same time. While I'm waiting for everybody to get to the page, I can tell you that all of our pages are numbered in the bottom left-hand corner in black font. Are we there?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. So the first picture on page 14 is a picture of the south end of the building facing west. So the rear of the building facing west, the south side. And you'll see there on the door, obviously there's no parking anytime in front of a fire exit, but you will see 2 signs there. And I'm going to show you close-ups of those signs in a moment. But I will tell you in advance that the one closest to the fire exit door is reserved for management and maintenance vehicles 24/7. So it generates 0 income. And you can see that on page 15, where I've taken a close-up of the picture. And you can see there where it says reserve 24 hours for maintenance and management. Okay. Page 16 gives us a little more of a view. You'll see one of the pictures there that was in the first picture we saw on page 14. When I attended the premise, there were 2 vehicles. These are tenants of the building. Those stalls, there are actually a total of 3 stalls reserved for tenants of the building. And I will again show you the close-ups of the signage on those particular stalls. And as you look at page 17, if you kind of split the screen, that's the little SUV. It's reserved 24/7 for one of the tenants. Now, Impark has it signed, but it actually doesn't generate any income because it's associated with a tenant of the building. And you'll see there, adjacent to that, on page 18, is 2 stalls to the north of the SUV, and between the SUV and the van was an empty stall at my time, or when I attended the property. And then the stall for the van is reserved for Top Stitch. That's one of the tenants within this building. You can see there the van on page 19, and on page 20, there is no parking where there's a BFI container. That's one of the reasons why there's only 8 stalls along this wall as well. There is no stairs to this exit. And so as soon as you allowed any stairs there, you would lose 1 more stall. They haven't done that. So you have, again, 3 rows of 11 stalls, 1 row of 8 stalls. However, the 8 stalls along the building, only 4 of them are associated with Imperial parking. So as the assessor indicated in his direct testimony, there is no disagreement with respect to the total stalls. Again, the realty owner and the name in which the business assessment is made, 2 separate parties, 2 separate entities. And so there's no disagreement with respect to the rental rate. The $90 per month rate should apply, we say, to a total of 37 stalls. We go through, there are no occupancy costs. We go through the calculations on page 6. And so there, you'll see our calculation. If you do the math, that works out to $90 a stall times 12 months of the year times 37 stalls equals a total of $39,960. And that's our request for a reduction. Save and accept any questions. I believe that's what we wanted to cover here.
Okay.
Can you, sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
I'm trying out these new toys here, so.
I got a story about those new toys.
Uh-oh.
All right. Questions, Arca?
Well, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Lynn?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, my only question is this value divisible by 12?
It's rounded in with the methodology, and actually I think it worked out because of the $90 per stall per month, but the $90 works out to $39,960. And that should be divisible by 12.
Yes, and I get $330.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have no more questions.
Thank you.
On this one. And Belen, you'll be glad to know your emails eventually showed up in my inbox on my other email account. So I guess they were slowed when they went through Timbuktu. Okay, next on the agenda is 582 King Edward Street. Let me pull up the file. That's number 4. Okay, you can proceed on this one, Erica.
Okay, so file number 2861. So it's Unit 2582 King Edward Street, Standard Aero Limited as owners. 2 bids totaling 19,117 square feet with a blended rate of $16. Individually, 14,039 square feet at $16.18 and 5,078 square feet at $15.49 per square foot. With occupancy cost and all the bids combined, total annual rental value is $352,680. I ask the board to confirm the rental value of $352,680. Page 2 provides rents, comparable rents in the in the vicinity of Polo Park and other areas nearby, and average and median are actually average is 1552 and median is 1525, and the minimum is $11.50 and maximum is $20.96 per square foot for the rent comparable. So the rent of $16 blended falls within the comparables range. Following page provides information, provides pictures of subject property, aerial view, street view, and that's all I have. Thank you very much. Actually, yes, there were actually. I should add one more thing. No. Okay, so in 2020, there were permits taken out for a complete gut and rebuilding of the interior space that were done. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
So that would be post-reference.
No, it's condition. It's a condition of 2020. Condition of subject property in 2020, based on market value of 2018.
If I can pipe in here, I agree with the assessor. Physical condition.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Questions, Brad?
I do have just a few. Arca, you indicated that Standard Aero was the owner, and in fact, they are the occupant of this premise, correct?
I believe they are the occupant for the owner.
And in fact, not the owner of this building, right?
Let me just double check the owner.
Thank you.
I believe it's not, but I have to double check. No, as owner has a it doesn't look like they're the owners.
Right. Do you know if this is a single tenant building or a multiple tenant building?
Okay, let me just take a quick look at it. I don't remember right now. I'll have to take a look. Because prior to why is it so slow? Just give me a second. It looks like it's a multiple tenant building.
Multiple tenant. And so do you know where within this building the subject premise is located?
I cannot say exactly right now.
Don't know. Okay. Would it make a difference if it was, so let's just flip back to your photo. I see here that you have an overhead. So if we look on your page 3 and we look at the bottom picture, which shows us a little more clearly, that's looking at the building from the north side in the southward direction, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So as you're looking at the site, there's a front portion on King Edward and a rear portion. Do you know which one of those the subject premise is?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. It appears that it would be farther to the back. That's what I would want
The
to say.
back. Okay. So all other things being equal, the premise fronting on the street would have more exposure. Would that not attract a higher rental rate?
Let's to be honest, like, well, with exposure, I guess it would have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Normally,
So-
but it's again. When looking at when under normal situations, exposure would have more attractiveness. However, I cannot say whether in this case it would be the case or not.
Okay. So just coming back to your page 1 for a moment, the city has separated out the 19,117 total square feet of premise area into 2 different sections. Do you know why that is?
I cannot say exactly what the reason behind it at this point. No.
Okay. Do you know if this premise is all on one level?
It looks like it's on 2 levels.
2 levels. And so you might sort of generally describe it as a 2-story office, yes?
Well, it's an office that occupies 2 floors.
Okay. Do you know if do you know whether or not this office on 2 floors has an elevator?
I don't know right now whether it has one or not.
Okay. And you've not had the opportunity to inspect it, correct?
No, I did not.
Now, there was a significant number of improvements that you referred to in 2020. Do you know if anybody from the department inspected it at that time?
It doesn't look like there has been an inspection, no.
Okay. So I want to take you to your rental comparables on page 2. and you show a total of 15 rental comparables here, correct?
Just give me a second. I need to find the page here. Yeah, there are 15 rental comparables. Yeah, go ahead. I found the page. Go ahead.
Okay, so those are all office space, correct?
Correct.
Do you know if any of those are second floor space?
Well, at this point, they are within they are located in the buildings that have multiple floors. Some have 4 floors, others have 3 floors, 2 floors. When we look at comparable 4, just going by the unit numbers, they have unit numbers 200, so that would indicate that they are second floor space. So that would be comparable 4, 6, 7, 10, and 13.
Okay, so let's deal with these one at a time. So 600 Empress, that is the new development with the Marks, the Bed Bath and Beyond, but there's also an office building there, right? One is the old CKY Studios that has been completely gutted and refurbished, and the other is a separate standalone building. For the Western Financial Group, correct? Do you know which building that is?
600 Empress. Well, let me just pull it up. Just 1 second. Well, 600 Empress by itself is just one building.
Okay, so do you know if it's the Western Financial Group or another, the former CKY Studios?
Which one are you talking about?
600 Empress.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so comparable number 4. That's what
3 and 4 both are in 600 Empress, right?
Yes. So. So comparable 4 is a Western Financial.
Right. And so that's a building with an elevator servicing the upper floors, correct? Built in 2012.
It's a 2012 building. I cannot speak to the elevators. I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay. So you don't know whether your rental comparables have elevators in the buildings or not?
I don't have the information in front of me on that, so I cannot speak to it right now.
And all other things being equal, a rental comparable in an elevator building versus a second floor space without an elevator, the second floor space without the elevator would be expected to rent for a lesser amount, correct?
So elevator does add value.
Right. And you are also restricted from the tenants who can occupy that space, correct? Without an elevator access, handicap access?
Well, again, it does create elevator does create, I guess, is added bonus, and without it, there is a bit of restrictions.
Okay, so let's just scroll down a little bit to your page 4. And And the top picture, now I see the little camera shadow there, so I'm going to make the assumption that this is taken from Google Streets.
Yes.
Okay. And do you see the sign there? Do you see where it says for lease?
Yes.
Did you investigate what the asking rent was on this property?
No, I did not look into it.
Okay. Do you know when it was offered for lease?
Based on our records, they are in there since July 2019.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Lynn, questions?
No questions.
Okay, and I have no questions, so you can proceed.
I'm never sure if that's good or bad. So I'm going to take you through a few things before I get into the nuts and bolts of this. This property was also inspected on Friday. Full disclosure, it was actually inspected by my colleague Rod Slaughter. And so we have included a number of pictures of this premise, and the assessor's correct. It is the rear of the building, or the westernmost component of the building. And our pictures start, well, let me start it with the plan. So on page 12, we show a layout. That's just confirming that the tenant occupies the rear of the building. That part of it, the part or the portion closest to the bottom of the page is the second floor. I can tell you that there is no elevator in this building. And so this is part main floor and part second floor office space with no elevator within it. Now, the assessor indicated that all his comparables were office space, and as we go through this this inspection or these inspection photographs, you're going to see that there is not a tiny area. It's a fairly substantial area that is not office finish. So on page 13, we'll start with some exterior shots of the side and the rear of the building. And then on page 14, the top picture is actually rotated 90 degrees. You can see that's actually the reception area for this premise. Again, bottom of 14, top of 15, exterior shots. It backs onto a hydro substation. Page 15 at the bottom, 16, bottom of 16 shows the stairs. It will require 2 sets being commercial for code. And then 17, more main floor space. Page 18 at the top, you will see a fairly substantial storage area within this space. 18 shows you some cubicle space, no demising. And again, picture on bottom of page 19 is just more from the reception area going up. So I'm going to take you just for a moment. I'm going to hop around here just a little bit. So I'm going to the picture on the very top on page 1 of our brief. If you blow it up, you'll see that that's from October of 2017. And I'll verify that for you in a moment. But if you look at the stamp date in the bottom right-hand corner, I think that you'll see that that is from October of 17. Just blow it up to verify it. No, that predates it. That goes back to 15. So let me then take you down to the offering for lease. This was, as you saw in the assessor's picture, it was offered for lease by Colliers. So it was known that the Johnson Group, who previously occupied the building, was moving out, and there was a new tenant going to move in, and we show that on pages 24 and 25 of our brief. And again, if we just rotate these 2 pages, it's easier to read. And you'll see on page 24 that these are the listings from October of 2017. So some 6 months in advance of the reference date. And on page 25, I have redacted the non-relevant portions of it, but you'll see there quite clearly that it's 582 King Edward Street that is being offered for lease with an asking rent of $16. Now it's very clear, since it was still vacant as of the reference date, that they were unable to achieve $16 per square foot for this finished office space. You see there that it's under the comments that it's described as a signature freestanding office building. It's in the St. James Polo Park area, that it has 124 parking stalls available. And it also describes nicely improved functional space. And so Johnson Group was in there previously. It was well finished prior to the redemising and the redevelopment suitable for this tenant of this premise. And so they were unable to achieve $16. $16 is the overall rate that's been applied by the city here. So I want to take you now to our rental comparables. I can tell you, as you look at the exterior of this property on pages 3 and 4, and more particularly 4, this was an industrial building at one time, and this goes back quite a number of years. The industrial building was originally built in 1984. It was a combination of office and industrial. It was then expanded, converted entirely into office. So it started out its life as an industrial building and has been finished out as office space. That's not unusual, and you'll see that in a number of our rental comparables. So our rental comparables are shown on page 6, and I will take you to pictures of them. So we have 15 of them in an office building in reasonably close proximity on Wellington Avenue, built in 1989. And then we go to 62, 75, and 59 Scurfield. That's the same area that the assessor went to for some of his rental comparables. Rental comparable number 32, interestingly, that was a rental comparable brought in by the city, showing a net rent of $379 a square foot. That was brought in a 2000 and either 16 or 18 appeal, and I can bring that up and show you if you'd like. I'm not relying on it, but it is interesting that the city themselves brought it in as a rental comparable in a previous assessment appeal at $379 a square foot. So moving down to page 22, we can take you to pictures of our rental comparables. Numbers 1 to 15, that is a multi-story office building designed as an office building, has an elevator, actually more than one elevator. So our rental comparables are office space within that building. We've also taken a look at some rental comparables in the Fort Garry Industrial Park, right along Scurfield. Many of those buildings have been either developed as office space or finished out as office space. I can tell you that our rental comparables 23 to 24 at 75 Scurfield started out its life as an industrial building. It is now classified by the city as an OFS, exactly like the subject property on the realty roll. And so the rental comparables that we show 23 and 24 are office space in the Fort Garry Industrial. Similarly, with 59 Scurfield, they've been finished out as office space. Now, all of our rental comparables are on a single level. My opinion is that the second floor space without the elevator would absolutely attract a lower rate, or you would have an overall rate applied. I can tell you that all of our rental comparables that we are showing on page 6 have leases either commencing or stepped up in 2015, 16, and 17, exactly like the assessor. And so based on all of that, looks like 31 should be excluded from that list. That was I should have used the newer release on that one. But if you look at them all, they range between $8.50 a square foot and $20 per square foot. The average $317, median at $325. This is not a prime location being rear ridge. It has the second floor office space without elevator access. That limits the tenancies that would be attracted to it or could be attracted to it. And so based on all of that, we've applied $13 a square foot. That's our request here today. We go through the calculations at the bottom of page 7 in the little table there. Occupancy costs, no disagreement. We're applying $13 a square foot. And so we are looking for a reduction to $295,380. And with that, I am open for questions.
Okay, questions, Arca?
So you stated that the subject property was inspected and you provided pictures of the subject property. That's correct?
I indicated that my colleague Rod Slaughter attended the property and took the photographs on Friday.
Mm-hmm. And you stated that subject property was in the condition of the units are, well, they're in a very good condition. Is that correct?
I would suggest, based on the pictures, that it is not executive finish. It is not what you would find in a lawyer's office or something akin to that. They are finished well, but there's nothing extraordinary about these improvements that would attract a higher rent. For example, as you look on the bottom of page 15, carpet, ceiling tiles, some demising of the walls. We saw the cubicle space in there. So we know that that it was exposed to the market as, in the words of Collier's, nicely functional office space, couldn't achieve $16 a square foot. So I conclude from that it has to be something less based on our rental comparables, which show a range, absolutely, and the presence of the second floor space with only stair access at an overall rate of $13 a square foot would be appropriate here.
Okay. I guess when I looked at your comparables that you presented, and I can, when I look at it, it's comparable number 13 would be the only, like the biggest of your comparables, excluding 32. And 32 is actually, it shouldn't have been used. I did review it when I was preparing this case, and that rate is it's not. I guess it's an error rate, and it should not have been there to begin with.
All I can tell you about number 32 is that the city presented it at the Board of Revision in their sworn evidence as the rental rate.
Yeah, but I want to see that number 13 is your biggest comparable. Is that correct?
Number 13, in terms of size,
I would be closest to the subject property in terms of size, and
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's also, as I showed in the picture, sorry, let me just finish that thought. It is bigger. I don't know whether that included TIs, whether the actual net effective was lower than that. But I can also tell you that when you look at the span of rents within there, that there's a wide range. It's a superior building when you look at the picture. superior in terms of location, and superior in terms of interior, being the elevator building, and being an office building designed as such. Better located, certainly.
Yeah. But again, would you agree with me that the condition of the office space itself contributes to the rent? So if an office space is in
it's one of the factors that would absolutely contribute to the potential achievable rent. Yes, one of the factors.
Yes, and you stated before that subject property is a well-finished office space. It's not executive, you mentioned, but it's a well-finished.
And I don't disagree with that, except for the space, as I indicated, the storage space, and we see that on page 18. So there's not a small area. You see the racking in there. That's not office finish. And so in terms of a blended rate, that might attract a lower overall rate when you blend that space in.
Yeah. Well, storage spaces typically, but every office space has a storage space.
Not like this. You might see small storage closets, but not typically like this.
Yeah. No. I guess so. And number 13 is a new rent, right? It was signed in June 17. It's not a step rent, and it was signed.
Sorry,
in June.
number 13.
Yes. When I look at it, it doesn't look like a step rent.
It appears so, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Lynn, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, I guess I have no questions either. So, thank you very much for that. We will then move on to. Well, first of all, does anybody need a break right now?
Fine.
I'm okay.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 5, which is 2494 Ferrier Street.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, so you can proceed, Arka.
Yeah, just I need to find it first.
I found them remarkably quickly.
Okay, so I think this is the one. So file number 2864, address 2494 Ferrier Street. Business assessment ID 2001, owners Inland Pipe Limited. So 4,503 square feet at rate of $7.89 plus full occupancy cost arrives at total annual rental value of $46,560. It is owner occupied. I asked the board to confirm the rate at 46,560. Okay. Yes. Okay. So page 2 are the comparables. 13 comparables. Ranging anywhere from 750 to 2175. Average 1189 and median $11 per square foot. Okay. Then let's see, page 3, aerial view of subject property. Page 4-6, Google Street View. Page 5 and 6 are Board of Revision order for Realty, and applicant pointed out, and I did the calculation. So the decision based on the assessment and taxation department, net operating income and 7% cap rate, it actually works out to be that applicant's rate was applied in the decision. So I just want to state that. So it wasn't City of Winnipeg's net operating income, but applicant's rent. I did the math on that. So with that, I'll just briefly find my page for comparables. Where did it go? I need to scroll up for it. Okay, there we are. Okay. So again, subject property, we have base rate of $7.89, which for an office property. And it is on the lower rate of the comparables. And when we look at other comparables, rent comparables, we can find that 789 is very well supported, and I ask the board to confirm that. Thank you very much.
Okay, questions, Brad?
Just a couple. And so this property is located on Ferrier. This is not, I think it's asphalted now, but it isn't what you would call a major thoroughfare, is it?
No, it's not.
And in fact, it is located in an industrial area without, there are houses lying to the south, correct?
Boy, let's see. Well, yeah. So it. Okay, so just give me a second. How would it go?
Right.
Yeah, there are houses to the south of
Right.
it, and
And to the north is industrial, correct?
well, it's an industrial, like I said, yes. So it's an industrial pipe. Yeah.
And it's heavy industrial, right?
Well, I did not review exactly what was whether it was heavy industrial or not, so I cannot speak to the specifics.
Okay. And to the east of this, on the east side of Ferrier, is vacant. This is not what you would call a highly desirable office area, is it?
No, it's not, and it is reflected in the price per square foot already.
Right. And you recognized and acknowledged that the Board of Revision heard an appeal of the 2020 Realty on this property, correct?
Correct.
And you acknowledged that the Board of Revision issued its decision based on $650 a square foot on that Realty decision, correct?
Well, it was based on the value presented. I do not have the exact price per square foot in front of me. If you want to state it that it's 650, then that's what it was. I have to dig deeper in my files to find that number. I don't have it right in front of me.
Yeah, it is within our evidence, so I'll get to it when we get to there. Have you had a chance to review permits on this property?
I briefly looked at it. I cannot say I did a complete review, so I would rather say I did not review it.
Okay, but it would be fair to say that the condition of the property is not that it would be described as at best in just a fair condition. Would you agree with that?
If we are talking about condition of the property, let me just take a well, yeah, the condition of the property is fair, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And your rental comparables that you show on your page 2, none of them would be in what might be described as a similar location, same sort of industrial, heavy industrial area, correct?
Well, I guess let me just take a. Some of them are, but I would say even if they are, subject property would be in slightly inferior locations than the other ones that are in industrial areas.
Those are my
But
questions.
then
Thank
again,
you.
it is reflected in the price per square foot as it is.
Mhm. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
Questions, thank you.
Lynn?
No question.
Okay, then you can proceed with your presentation, Brad.
Thank you. And so we show an overhead on page 3, and I'm wondering if I might share a screen with the board, just showing a slightly more encompassing area to give the board the context for the area that it's actually within.
Okay, go ahead.
Bear with me. There we go. Can we all see that? Oops. We're there?
No.
Okay. And so the little red dot sort of in the center lower quadrant of the of this map, this is just Google Maps with the satellite view. That's the office building that we're talking about. And so you'll see to the south and to the west of it is residential development. To the north and to the west are heavy industrial. One is a concrete extrusion plant, so they make pipes, and one makes concrete forms. One is, it used to be called AP Infrastructure. So one is a Lehigh facility and one is an AP Infrastructure Solutions. The one on the north of the property is the facility that makes the extrusions. They make concrete pipes. And the one just to the west is they make forms. So they make a form inside the long building there. They pour the concrete in, it sets, they tension it. And so 2 separate processes. One of these is the office building, the one to the north that is associated, the industrial property, and that's the office building that they use. How am I going to put this? Very intermittently. It's no longer a center of their operation out here. And to the north and east, you'll see there is just empty area. And if you go further north, it's exactly the same thing. It's just undeveloped, vacant. There was a time when this site was unserviced. I believe that it now has at least water in place. And so that doesn't impact on our opinions for this appeal, or actually on the Realty Appeal that we did in 2020. Now, I can tell you about the 2020 Realty Appeal because I did it. I don't remember it with a lot of fondness, but it is the infamous appeal that started at 1 and went till about 20 to 10 at night. So if we look at our rental comparables, excuse me, again on page 5, these are exactly the same rental comparables that I utilized in our submission to the Board of Revision on the Realty. And you'll see there that there is a range from a low of $4 all the way up to $9. In this particular location, with the condition that it's in, I applied a very modest $650 a square foot. There is no disagreement with the 4,503 square feet rentable area or premise area applied here. So 650 is what we are suggesting here. I can also tell you that as we look at the Board of Revision order on pages on pages 10 and 11, again, numbered in the bottom right-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner, you'll see there that the board indicated that the decision was based on the assessment and taxation department's net operating income. That's actually not accurate. If you go through and apply 7% to our net operating income within our brief, and I have attached it here for your reference, on page 20, our net operating income, 23,990, you cap that at 7%, and you come out with the 343,000 as ordered by the Board of Revision for the Realty. That net operating income was based on $650 a square foot gross potential rent. That's the same rent that we apply here for the business assessment. And so if we go through the calculations that we show on the bottom of page 6, you'll see $650 a square foot, 4,503 square feet is the premise area. We're looking for a reduction based on all of that to $40,320. And I think it's pretty short and sweet. That's the information that we wanted to present here.
Okay, questions, Arka?
Okay, I'm just a few questions. On your comparables, some of them have street numbers, some do not.
Yes.
So typically, it's I guess those lower rate properties, would they be industrial properties versus office properties?
No, they're all offices. Let me just pull it up here for you. So our practice is to mask out the actual addresses where the rates haven't been utilized in a public forum. For example, if the city brings them in or if we bring them in on an appeal hearing, then they become part of the public record. These particular ones have not, but let me just pull them up here for you. Okay, there we go. So the they are all occupied by tenants within office space. I can tell you that Main Street, is on there, okay. It's 207 Donald and 1970 Main Street. Those are actually office buildings. The one on Notre Dame is at 395 Notre Dame. It's occupied, it's 100% office. It's occupied by Granite Claims, which is, I believe, an insurance adjuster. The ones on Portage Avenue are a Class D or OFS, depending on how you look at it, office building at 960 Portage Avenue. They're all office finish. On the main floor up to the third floor, again, I believe it has an office building. The other ones are at 1741 Wellington, which have been finished out as our records show 100% office. So they're all office space. If that answers your question, I hope.
Okay. No, it does. It's just, again, those rates, like, and again, like being on Portage Avenue or Wellington Avenue, it's some of the prime rents there for office. So those rates being what they are, that kind of would it throw a bit of a skepticism as to the condition or as to the I guess quality of the rent, or maybe the quality of the data?
Well, I can tell you that there is no dispute on the data. These are from our records. They are very carefully vetted. I can also tell you that 207 Donald, I have been in personally. I have also been in for an inspection related to a municipal board appeal for the rental comparables on Portage Avenue, all within 960 Portage Avenue. I have personally inspected that property, so I don't have any doubt about the veracity of our evidence here.
Arca, if I can interject here, we deal with evidence and not speculation. So
Okay,
if you have
no.
evidence to
No,
suggest
no.
these aren't
I'm
good rents,
just, I just want to hear it from the, I guess, from the applicant to make sure that what we're dealing is what we're dealing with. So,
Well, and again, sorry, Arca, and again, these are exactly the same rental comparables that we utilized in the appeal for 2020 of the Realty assessment.
no, all right.
Same owner of the Realty, same occupant on the business role.
All right, no, those are all my questions. Thanks.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
Just one related to the basement space. How much of it is vacant?
Well, it's not utilized, and this actually came up at the board revision hearing. Now, I had a rebuttal package. Obviously, I can forward it to you, but I can tell you that the municipal board, let me pull up. Uh-oh.
I didn't say.
Let me just pull up the rebuttal here so I can give you the municipal board order number. But I can tell you that the municipal board actually dealt with this property and that issue came up. And the municipal board, in its order, utilized 4,503 square feet as the rentable area. They excluded the basement area, and they did so on the basis that whatever value might be attributable to the basement was incorporated and included in the main floor rent. So it was order number 06229. I can tell you that my colleague who has passed on, Dave Sanders, dealt with it before the municipal board. It was a full hearing. And let me just I'm going to scroll down here to the board's findings, and then I'm going to share the screen. So, if with your permission, I can submit the order as a rebuttal, or I'm happy to just share it here, whichever you prefer.
Well, I don't think there's any dispute as to the area, so I don't.
Okay,
think we need to do that.
so then let me just. Well, the question arose about the basement area, so let me.
Well, let's go back to your brief.
Okay.
Where you say on page, I think it's page 2. Aside from the space that is used for mechanical and utility rooms, the basement has been vacant or used for storage.
That's correct. That doesn't mean that it's unfinished. That just means that they don't use it. And that was very clear within the municipal board order that I referred to.
But your brief says it's still used for storage.
Okay, so I would then like to ensure that we have a clear understanding. And I'm going to share the screen in terms of the market rent for the basement. Bear with me while I pull it up. So this is an excerpt from that order. This is within the board's findings. And I've already given you the board or the municipal board order number. And so the board, in dealing with the market rent for the basement, The board, and I've highlighted the sections here as I did in rebuttal. This was part of the rebuttal package that I filed with respect to the Realty Appeal. Of all of the evidence presented regarding basement space, the most compelling is Mr. Sanders' recollections regarding his professional experience in attempting to rent this space. According to him, he could not even get prospective tenants to look at the space, never mind consider renting it. In our view, and that's the board, this speaks volume regarding the marketability of this basement. If the basement could be rented, it would likely be in conjunction with the larger arrangement for the main floor space. To this end, the market value of the basement is better reflected by including it within the rent charged for the main floor space and not independently as rentable space. That was exactly my approach at the Board of Revision on the Realty, and that's exactly my approach here today.
How old is this order?
The order goes back to, so it's 06229, so 2006. Nothing has changed in this building in all of that time. It wasn't originally included within our evidence, but I do have available, oops, can we now see the permits?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll see there that really nothing has gone on in this building. There have been no improvements of any note. There were some repairs. There was a cabling and electrical for a pump and a yard light. But other than that, not really anything within this building in all of that. These permits go back to January 1st of 2000. So nothing has been done in this building really that might impact or give it a more attractive potential rent.
Have you inspected the building lately? Or
I have not. I inspected the adjacent building, and while I was there, I briefly discussed it with the people, the site manager that I went through the operation building with. I just in very general terms talked about the office building. Nothing has changed in there, was what they indicated. And the only office space they have in their other facility, in the heavy industrial facility, is a single office that wasn't occupied when I was there, a reception area which isn't really used. This is a production facility, heavy industrial production facility that doesn't have a need of office space. Operational needs, I presume, have changed over time. They use this, and the office building, they certainly don't use the basement, other than for the storage as referred to.
okay, that's my only question. Thank you.
Okay, Lynn, any questions?
Good question.
Okay, thank you for that. Then let's move on to item 6, 535 Panet Road. If I can find that one.
This one will go faster.
Okay, Arca, you can proceed then, please.
Again, I have to close so many windows to open a new one. It's all right. So let's see. Okay. File number 2857. A business assessment 54762. Owners H. Talman International Incorporated. Area 9,013 square feet. Base ARV $13.51. Not full occupancy cost. It doesn't have air conditioner. Otherwise, occupancy costs account for heat, electricity, and water. Total annual rental value $140,760. I would like to place a recommendation to reduce the rental value to $122,640, which is based on a rental value of $11.50 per square foot, plus occupancy cost for heat, electricity, and water. That would calculate to be $122,640. And the applicant has expressed their willingness to accept the recommendation, so I would not go further into the presentation at this point. unless it will be necessary. And I will conclude it at this.
Okay, Brad, how do you feel about the recommendation?
I have not had a response from the client, but we have no objection to the recommendation. And
Okay,
we're presenting no evidence on this matter.
Okay, Brent, any questions of the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Lynn, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess that concludes Mr. Bergstrom's part of the hearing. We have one last property that we have passed over. Belen, there is still no applicant ready to present?
Correct.
Okay, so Arca on 333 St. Mary, can you lead us through your brief then?
Okay. File number 2804, business assessment ID 54850, owner Skyloves 4, and that's a business name, and owner Skyloves 4 Incorporated. Premise area 562 square feet, base ARV $66.61, with full occupancy cost. Total annual rental value is $38,820. I ask the panel to maintain the value at $38,820. It's not owner occupied. It's food court in the city place, 333 St. Mary Avenue. Subject lease itself at $65. That was submitted on income and expense mailer. Base net here is 6661, which is within 5% degree of tolerance for the modeling. So it is within the acceptable tolerance range. And again, page 2 provides comparables. Ranges anywhere from $45 to $113 per square foot. Average $77.14, median $75. Maps of food court. Experts from income and expense mailer, and the picture of the subject location when it under previous tenant, when it was Meltwich. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, Lynn, any questions?
No questions, no.
Okay, so then that concludes today's hearing. Thank you very much. And then the board will deliberate in a few minutes. Let's take a short 5-minute break, then come back.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Arca.
Should have taken a break. When